Welcome to Disabled Expectations. When you're a dad raising a child with a disability, nothing is as you planned. These are the raw, honest stories of dads whose lives changed the day they heard a diagnosis and who continue to show up, adapt, and fight for their families every day. This isn't about lowering expectations, it's about redefining them. I'm Andy, and this is Disabled Expectations. Well, thanks for joining us. This is Disabled Expectations, and I've got my man Mark with me. He is a Rockford legend, and I'm excited to have you on. He's a Michigan fan too, which also needs to be said because, I mean, come on, you know this is going to be good. But Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I am far from a legend. Annika, who we're going to talk about, is really, hopefully, well, she is the legend in our family. But her story continues to grow.
Yeah, everywhere, we hear about Anni and all that Army is doing, and all. I mean, everyone knows, everyone's heard about it. So you guys are doing awesome, which we'll get into. I don't want to jump ahead, but hey, I wanted to start and just kind of hear a little bit about your family. Tell us about your wife, your kids, kind of just a brief description.
Yeah, so my wife and I have been married. We actually got married 11 days before September 11th. So,
wow.
Kind of a very interesting start. We were lucky that we still got to travel to our honeymoon and all of that good stuff. But yeah, so we have 3 children. Cam is our oldest. He graduated from Rockford last year with the class of 2025. And we have Annika and Bodhi that are twins. And Bodhi is 3 minutes older than Annika. They're currently 16, and they are sophomores at Rockford High School.
That is fun. And I saw in my stalking, I saw you were I'm not gonna hide it. I'm a stalker. I saw Cam is a pilot and just flying all over, right?
Yeah, he is. So there's a couple different ways that you can actually go about being a pilot. You can actually go to a 4-year degree school like Western Michigan, or you can actually study privately. And studying privately is the way Cam has gone, as well as going to Grand Rapids Community College to get his associate, and then he will transfer after that's done for his 4-year business degree. But his main thing is he wants to be a commercial pilot, and he pretty much spent the beginning of the summer finishing up his baseball career, but he really spent it flying or working, one of the two. He was either at the Whitecaps or West Michigan Whitecaps, or he was flying. And let's see, he and Lynn went up last night again, and I think he's about at 160 hours, which is crazy because and the reason he chose this path is a lot of the kids that graduate from 4-year schools, they graduate with about 250 to 300 hours, and he will have that before this year is out, and he wouldn't even have been through half of his freshman year. So just a little bit faster path. Financially, it's different for us, but it's something that we made the choice to help him in that, and he is a great pilot. I will say that he is a great pilot.
Were you nervous the first time you got in the plane with them and closed the door?
Him, no. Obviously, we've known him his whole life, and I know his personality. I knew that he would. He's very calculated. He's very calm. My thing is I've never really flown in a small plane.
Right.
And I'm not young, and this plane was way older than I was, and it looked like I've told people, it looks like a beat up aluminum garbage can with wings.
That's comforting. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what all these people learn to fly in. And they're actually very safe. Even if the engine dies, he has so much time to glide and find a field or something to put it down in. So we've gone up, each of us, my wife and I, and actually Bodhi's gone up too. Each time you go, you learn how the plane moves a little bit differently. Yeah. So, we flew to Northern Michigan last week and back at night, and I wasn't even worried. So,
That's a whole
Yeah.
nother man. And
It's a
what's
whole trust level too. It's a whole
for
trust level.
sure.
I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid,
I
but
know.
hey.
It's such a unique experience. It's got to be special. What is Bodhi into?
So all my kids are competitive ski racers, and
Whoa. Okay.
that's Bodie's main, I guess, outlet.
Wow.
He also works for the Whitecaps,
Okay.
Bat Boy, just like Cam does. This is his first year. Last year, he actually worked the bounce house, which that wasn't a whole lot of fun for him. Essentially, it's glorified babysitting. And he runs track at Rockford.
Okay.
He loves airsoft. Quite a bit different personality than Cam. Cam and Annika are a lot alike.
Okay.
And Bodie's a little more quiet. It's one of the challenges that we really ran into when Annika was diagnosed, as Annika was pretty much the Pied Piper, and Bodie kind of followed wherever Annika went, and was kind of the quiet one. And then,
Yeah.
being diagnosed going into sixth grade, first year of middle school, all of a sudden Bodie was on his own because Annika missed sixth and seventh grade. So
Wow. Okay. Wow. So when you say competitive ski, just so I
yep,
know, you're talking
sure,
like the slalom, like around
yep.
the okay.
Yeah,
Dang,
so
that's awesome.
Cam was an all-state ski racer, and Bodie was all conference as a freshman here in Grand Rapids on the varsity
Jeez.
here at Rockford. And Annika was probably the fastest of all three before she got diagnosed. That girl,
Wow.
she was super fast and zero fear.
Does she
And it's
remind
one.
them?
She does a little bit. She roots for them. There's this
Yeah.
thing online called live timing where you can't physically watch them ski like video wise, but you can see the time.
Okay.
And we'll sit on the couch because obviously she can't travel to many of the races, and she's yelling at live timing. She's given each of the boys nicknames, um, and she yells at them, and she's their biggest fan. So
Oh, I love that so much.
yeah,
Man.
and obviously she's lost pretty much everything, and her probably favorite thing was ski racing. So the
Really?
fact
Okay.
that it just tells you a lot about her. The fact that she can still root for them and
Yeah.
other people, her friends, that she used to race with and against,
Right.
she can still root for them sitting at our house is a testament to her.
Oh, for sure. That's a great gift though, to be able to give her brothers, I love that.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
You got it.
Um, so we're having some honest conversations with dads who have kids with disabilities. That's what this podcast is all about. I, I, I told you a little bit before. I feel like dads are kind of the stubborn ones. They don't like to be out in front talking, but I find that different with you. You seem to be you. You have no problem getting on social and sharing updates and what's happening with your life. And
Yeah,
so I wanted to kind of start. Obviously, we're going to focus on Anni, but I wanted to kind of start the journey, and a little bit. You've already shared a little bit of how some of the things she was into, but what was Anni like as a, I mean, I really know nothing about like your story, so
sure.
so just start from the beginning. I'm so curious about your daughter.
Yes. I mean, for us, life was, I mean, how do you say normal?
Yeah.
But life was normal. We were uh, double income, three children. Our kids were born 26 months apart. So the
Wow.
early life was tough. We don't have any family that really live in the area here. So um, we do now, but at the time we did not. So, it was pretty much on Lynn and I. That's my wife. And,
Mhm.
but that's okay. We're both firstborn. We're both type A personalities, which that brings your own challenges when you marry a type A if you're a type A. Um, so like I said, life was normal. Life was good. All kids were involved in a lot of activities, and my wife we actually had a nanny when the kids were younger because my wife worked full time, but it was out of our house for a company in Chicago.
Okay.
And we lived in a great neighborhood um, over in Cannon Farms, and come 2019, we thought it was time to move. We just wanted some land. Kids had established friendships and things like that. So we actually moved only about 3 miles away across the road, right across from
Okay.
Crestwood Elementary. We didn't even have to change grade schools. It was crazy. But we needed this house. We didn't know we needed the house, but we needed the house because our old house over in Cannon Farms, we could not have cared for Annika in the state that she has been in the last
Okay.
couple of years. And this house is, for some reason, has wider doors and all hardwood
Wow.
floors, so we can move around a lift. And our bedroom is big enough for our huge king size bed and her hospital bed.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, and guess what? The one person that didn't want to move was Annika. She's the one that I had to pretty much take out of our old house, kicking and screaming.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but yeah, like I said, little did we know. So we moved in December of 2019, right before COVID, and had we really didn't travel a whole lot when the kids were younger. We had a boat in Lake Michigan, and that was kind of our vacation. We spent weekends out there in the summer,
Okay.
and at least 1 or 2 weeks a year. But due to some things, we had sold the boat, and we said we're going to go on our first kind of true family vacation. That's not going to visit family or anything like that. We're going to go on spring break. COVID happened, everything gets canceled, and here we are. The next thing is kind of the next major thing that happened was Annika's diagnosis, and
Okay.
and you kind of, I know you kind of asked me like when we kind of started seeing signs. So it was kind of December, January of 2020, 2021. She
Okay.
just started showing funky, like parents would think, and we thought too, like she's like just has the flu, but
Mm.
but then she'd be like, I'm fine. I want to go to school. Um, in the school, she'd get sick at school, and then the school would call. And luckily, we were good friends with the principal, because like they think eating disorder and they think what's going on at home. And
Wow.
now we're getting a little nervous because now people are asking some questions that we know we didn't deserve, but they have to ask, right?
Right.
Um,
And how
and,
old
and
is Annie at this
so
point?
Ani at that time was 11.
11. Okay.
So that's like December of 2020, January of 2021. Um, and kind of
Mm.
the first, I guess, sign that I didn't see at the beginning, but like I told you, she was a competitive ski racer and always, and this does not matter to us, but she always finished at the top. One, two, three. She won a couple junior events here in Michigan, and I watched her ski that winter, and it just didn't look like she wanted to be out there. Her balance wasn't right.
Hmm.
Um, and I kept asking her, I'm like, hey, if you just want to ski for fun. She's like, no, Dad, no, Dad, no, I want to race because that was her thing. And I'm like, okay. Then we flew, actually, we did spend that spring break. We flew out to Lynn's family. They live in the Phoenix area. We went to spend the week out there, and Annika went to change into her bathing suit and ran and jumped in the pool. And I looked at my wife and I said, there's nothing left of her. Because, going through winter here, 11-year-old girl, as
Okay.
a dad, you know, you're covered up. You really don't see a whole lot, right? I mean, we knew something was wrong, but I'm like,
Mm.
there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, she's like 55 pounds at this point. So
Wow.
obviously now we're worried. But
Yeah.
again, you don't think brain tumor. Now we're thinking. And I remember we take into our pediatrician, and they're talking about, well, maybe she has chronic migraines, and um, I
Hmm.
thought about, great, she's going to have to be on medication for the rest of her life. Sitting here now, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Right.
But you don't know what you don't know, right? So,
Yeah.
kind of the next couple months go by, nothing's getting better, and finally, um, my wife called our pediatrician and said we have to do something. So they sent us to a neurologist, and he did. We were down there together, and she's kind of skipping around, but she kind of does some things. She loses her balance, and I can see the look in his face. But again, you're not going to think brain tumor. You're just
Yeah.
not, because that's like, I mean, geez. And then they said, well, we're going to send you over for an MRI, and I believe this is on a Tuesday night. It's actually June 30th of 2021. And I'm actually standing at what used to be Art Van Sports Complex, now Meier, over in Rockford. And our oldest, who was a baseball player, is about to start first game, and Annika's down at DeVos with Lynn, and they're just going to do an MRI to rule everything out. And I get a text from her, and all it said is, "I need you down here immediately." And I don't know, I knew, right? I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew something was bad. I remember running past friends of ours. I remember wiping out in the parking lot in my dress clothes. I remember leaving the parking lot, but I don't remember the drive from Rockford to DeVos. I don't remember it. I know I called my dad, but I don't remember the drive. Came into the little room that they put you in, even like if your child is having an MRI, and Lynn shares with me that she has what's called medulloblastoma. So medulloblastoma is a tumor that forms at the base of the brainstem, and at this point, Annika's had been growing quite a while. Okay. It is a tumor that is mostly in boys, and mostly boys under 8. So the fact that Annika was at this point a 12-year-old female, it's even more rare. Only about 400 kids, at least when Annika was diagnosed, every year in the U.S. I would argue that number is higher. Not that I sit there and research it, but through our foundation and the help that we've done, it just seems like there's more kids than 400. But regardless, it's still extremely rare. And unfortunately, because it had been growing a while, it had already metastasized up into her brain, some lesions in her brain, and then all up and down her spine. And it hits you like a ton of bricks. And you don't know what to do.
Does Anni know at this point when you guys know?
No, Anni does not know. So Lynn, during my drive, had already talked to our neurosurgeon, Dr. Madura, who, if anybody ever gets a chance to interact with him, hopefully it's not on the medical side, but if they do, he is the best. He saved Annika's life multiple times. I give him credit. We give him credit, along with other doctors and stuff, but he has just been such a good advocate for Annika and what we should do and how we should how we should go about treatment and everything.
Yeah, you're actually not the first one to say that about that doctor.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So that's good to hear. It's nice when you have to go through what you have gone through, and to have a doctor that is just great. That just helps with the whole experience.
Well, and it's, I look back on it now and I understand he doesn't have a bubbly personality, and he shouldn't, right? All these situations he should not. But and I'm sure that most of the kids like Annika, he does not get to know. They do the surgery, they either have wonderful outcomes or they have awful outcomes. I hate to say it, but and as we kind of get a little bit more deeper in our discussion, you'll kind of understand why I say that. But over the years, we've gotten to know him. We've got him to laugh. I mean, every time he sees Annika, he's actually turned people onto our foundation. Awesome. It's been a really good, I think, for him too, because even though Annika's not in the best spot, it's still somebody that he helped, but he still has contact with. And like I said, I don't think, from what I know, that there's a whole lot of contact with patients ongoing in their line of work. So we get in there. Here comes Annika, or Lynn tells me, obviously I don't know anything about it, and like you said, and we'll kind of get into this too, but you think that sometimes dads are kind of like the ones that kind of hold everything in and don't want to say anything. Well, my wife and I are actually the opposite. Lynn is actually the one that doesn't like to really, she goes, you're the face of, you and Annika are the face of the foundation. You guys talk, you guys tell her story. When she does it, she's fantastic at it. She just doesn't, it's not comfortable for her. So I'm like, okay. So here comes Annika. Lynn had already talked to Dr. Madura. Dr. Madura tried to explain some stuff to her, and she looked him in the face and she goes, listen, just go do what you need to do. You don't have to make me feel better. Just
Wow.
Whatever you have to plan, that's what we're going to plan. So the funny story, not really funny story, but Annika was Lynn actually got a call before she met Dr. Madura from the ICU, the PICU, pediatric ICU, that Annika was being admitted. So it's kind of things didn't happen exactly. So Lynn kind of found out that something was really bad before she got told something was really bad. But she is a incredibly strong person. We kind of both have to be in this situation, but even before any of this, like I say, both type A, which is a benefit to us now.
Yeah.
I mean, not always, but a lot of it. So Lynn talks to Dr. Madura and his team, and they send us up to 8. And I still remember walking, because you're on level C, that's where all kind of the scans and everything happen. And Annika grabs my hand, and she starts skipping down the hallway. And I'm like, all right, here we are. We have brain tumor. Cancer is riddling her body, and how do I tell her?
Yeah.
How do you tell her?
There's no.
It's amazing. No, right. There isn't. So we go up the elevator, and this kind of broke the ice. Annika sprints into the room and jumps in the bed. And the nurse is there she's charting. And she turns like this. She goes, Annika? And Annika's with her bubbly, super outgoing personality. Hi. And she looked at me and she goes, we don't have kids run and jump in these beds. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you don't, right? I mean, we're in the ICU. We're in the worst of the worst for Grand Rapids pediatrics. So here we are. We're in the ICU. Annika's getting checked in. They need to put what's called they put a drain in her head, essentially, because what the tumor was doing, and the reason she was getting sick and losing all the weight and couldn't eat, is the tumor had actually blocked the natural drain for our spinal fluid to go from our brain into our abdomen, down our spine. And then it dissipates into your body. Hers was blocked. So they needed to put a drain in her head. So Lynn decided to go home, pack up. We were both going to spend the night, obviously. And I was going to stay there during this procedure. And right before Lynn left, we told Annika.
Yeah.
And she actually took it better than we thought. Obviously terrified, but she was just excited to feel better. Now, if we knew where we were going to be, maybe the excitement might have been a little less. But she's excited, and we knew that there's not like we're at the point where there's no second opinion. There's no other option.
Man.
This is the standard procedure for treating medulloblastoma brain tumor. So here we are, and Lynn drives home.
And this is all the same day?
This is within 90 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
This is like from when Lynn texted me to now we told Annika to Lynn driving home. We're like 90 minutes.
And they're about to do the procedure.
They're about to do procedure. I had to leave. They do it right in the room. They put a drain in her head, and it's crazy because within 60 minutes, Annika starts feeling better. Well, all this pressure is now off her, in her ventricles, which is what they watch when you have a lot of issues in your brain like that. So so Lynn's at home. She tells our boys, my wife's sister and family were in town. So now we start telling our family, and then funny or not funny, all of a sudden mine and Lynn's phones start blowing up. And they're like, what can we do? What can we do? And we're like, how in the heck are people finding out? Like, is there like a hospital leak or something? Because we're getting like half of Rockford now blowing up our phones, which all good, but you literally don't have time to be answering these. And we found out that Cam, our oldest, texted his baseball team that Annika has a brain tumor.
Wow.
And then all those kids who they care about her deeply went and told their parents. So now their parents are sharing it. And Now we're
Jeez.
like, holy cow. Now you look back on it and you laugh. At the time, I'm like, kids, seriously, you took a really difficult situation and made it that much more difficult, literally out of the goodness of your heart. But
Right.
yeah. So then, we're sitting there that night, and Lynn comes back. Annika is actually sleeping, feeling comfortable, looking back. I mean, her color was better outside of the tube sticking out of her head. But all these things that are hooked up to her, and obviously we're nervous. And so then we talked about, okay, well, how do we communicate this? And this is where it comes in, where it's like and we're both private, but she's ultra private. And she goes, we're just going to text family with updates. And I said, listen, this is not a broken leg. I go, we have a long journey here. So we came up with the idea on Facebook of Anni's fight. And it was it's private. I wish I'd have made it public, but we were kind of in a panic. There's like almost 1,000 followers, and I wrote about her every night for 2 years, like literally so every incredible. Night, an update. And for me, it was therapeutic, right? Jeez. I mean, some of the updates were dumb. Some of them actually had a lot of medical stuff in it that I probably didn't spell half the stuff right.
Right.
And people have probably read it and be like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And
even if you spell it right, they still don't know.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So, that kind of started the journey. We had the next day, June, it was July 1st. Family came in, said hi, visit with Annika. The boys were there. Obviously, this is still kind of COVID. So very limited. And then, July 2nd, Annika started a 12-hour massive brain surgery. Wow. They could not go after the small lesions in her head or up in her brain, and they could not go after any of the lesions in her spine. They were going to treat that with radiation and then extensive chemo.
Okay.
So long 12 hours. Man. I will say that I was extremely calm. I can't tell you why. I had that much trust. I had that much trust in her. She just fights. It's just in her DNA.
That's super cool. Because that's a situation. There's no, you can be as prepared as you want to be, but it's just so difficult. So many things can happen. And you said 12 hours, right?
12 hours. And she did have a couple episodes where they had to kind of back off a little bit. Jeez. So they knew. And then what they have to do with medulloblastoma is they have to leave less than 1.5 centimeters square unit for them to truly think that they got enough of it. So then radiation and chemotherapy can take care of the rest. Wow. And he was confident, but he couldn't make any guarantees. One of the funny, non-funny stories of the day, we're about 8 hours into surgery, and one of the pastors from DeVos walks in, and Lynn and I freaked out.
Not good timing.
Terrible timing. We apologized to her profusely, and sitting back on it now, we're like, there is no way they would send a pastor in if something happened to her. After, right. Yes, but not at the time. Now you look back on it and you're like, we probably made her pick another career. We were nice, but obviously we thought something tragic happened.
Yeah.
So she makes it through the 12 hours, and they think everything went well. They did multiple MRIs during her surgery, which was kind of crazy to think about, like what they have to do to actually do that. And so obviously now we are in major when you have brain surgery like that, it's essentially like having a massive head injury. And Annika next develops what's called posterior fossa syndrome. It happens
Okay.
to about 20% of kids that have this surgery, but it can happen to you and I. If you and I are in a bad car accident, it's essentially massive head trauma,
Okay.
and you lose the ability, you lose all your abilities. Um,
Did they
so,
say that was a risk
yes, yep,
before? Okay.
we knew it was a risk. DeVos has actually had a lot of luck when they do these surgeries. Not a lot of kids have had it. But
Yeah.
as we go through our story, you'll kind of find out that Annika is the unicorn. Um, like I told you, she was a 12-year-old female that is extremely rare to have the tumor
Yeah.
initially. So she develops what's called posterior fossa. The last time she talked was the day after surgery. I remember her saying, "Dad, what are you eating?"
Mm.
Um, and then that was the last words that we heard her talk for weeks, and I mean, well, months actually. Um, so now
Wow.
if you saw pictures of her, and this is like when I was writing about her every night, I didn't post any pictures.
Okay.
Before the surgery, I did, but I didn't post any after. I mean, she didn't look like herself. Staring off into space. But like I said, the surgery essentially caused a major brain injury to her. Um, yeah, so then kind of the next steps, and they were doing therapy with her, physical therapy. They were trying to get her to eat. That obviously didn't work, so they put her on a feeding tube. She really has no facial expression. She has no leg movement. So now throughout the day, either the nurses or Lynn and myself are constantly moving her, and just making sure she's not laying on one side too often
Yeah.
or anything like that. And she has 7 IVs, and as a non-needle guy, which I am, this really made me just buck up and say, "You have to accept this." Um, and that was the worst part of the day for her. Actually, is when she had to have some of those IVs flushed. They have to be flushed every 25, going by memory, but I believe every 24 hours, if not every 12, and that was
Okay.
very painful for her.
Wow.
Um, So then after the surgery, standard Meggio treatment is she has to start radiation within 4 weeks, 28 days of surgery, or the
Okay.
chance of you beating this is very slim. Um, so we get approved for now. We're talking about going to Boston Children's Hospital, St. Jude. We're talking about the Children's Hospital in Houston,
Wow.
and we finally get approved to do photon therapy at Beaumont over in Detroit.
Okay.
So they do this. They actually put a port in her for chemo meds that they're going to need to do, and we head over to Beaumont. Um, Very interesting because Annika rode in the ambulance by herself, not being able to communicate or anything. It was terrifying for Lynn and I. We each drove a car over
Wow.
because of kind of how our boys still had lives,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
still had activities. And um,
Yep.
Cam actually that weekend was playing in a baseball tournament in Ludington. Um, so we
Jeez.
drove over there, and that was going to be interesting because their photon um, radiation is a separate building, pretty much. So we actually were going to have to wheel Annika down like a public hallway. Looking back on it, it's like holy cow.
Yeah.
However, what they had to do during those 4 weeks is they actually had to put a reservoir in the back of her head because the scar tissue had kind of grown over, and it had stopped, her CF fluid had stopped draining again.
Okay.
Um, well, when we get over to Beaumont, now now they think that this um, thing is infected. So they are not technically a pediatric hospital. They are an adult hospital with a pediatric wing, and we need to start radiation the next morning. This is how critical this is. Dr.
Jeez.
Madura, he's going to jump back in here. He did not like what he heard over there at Beaumont, and he rushes Annika back overnight. Lynn and Annika in a sirens and light in an ambulance. Annika's still upset because she didn't get to fly in the helicopter, but which is funny.
From Detroit to Grand
Right,
Rapids.
correct. Here we go across the state, and we are going to start proton therapy that DeVos offers. And if you know about photon and proton, there's pros and cons for each one. Photon is viewed a little bit safer just to how it operates, but at this point, we don't have a choice. We trust DeVos with Annika's life and 125%. So here we go.
Jeez.
So here she goes. 31 radiation treatments. She has 20, and this is Monday through Friday. They normally do them towards the end of the day. 20 of them were full brain, tumor bed, and full spine. That was the first 20. The next 6 are full brain and tumor bed, and the last 5 are just tumor bed. And this kind of takes us kind of the next part.
And she's staying at DeVos at this point, right?
Well, part of it.
Okay.
So for like the first couple days, she's at DeVos, and then we get transferred to Mary Free Bed.
Oh.
So now we're in therapy over at Mary Free Bed. We're trying to coordinate. Time. We're trying to coordinate all kinds of stuff. And Annika, remember I told you she can't move, she can't talk, so she's being transferred by a gurney back and forth. Well, the problem is Annika, we are not priority, so there were a couple times that we got stuck at Lennon Holton, which is kind of part of DeVos. It's the radiation area, until past working hours because there were emergencies in Grand Rapids that needed to be taken care of by ambulance that can carry gurney. So, I told Lynn one night, I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to put her in a chair. So then we can have a different type of transport. We ended up doing that. She did actually fantastic. She started to gain a little strength back. Like I said, still can't really move, still can't talk. But she can smile and she can give us a thumbs up. She's starting awesome. So she's starting to gain a little bit of, she's starting to gain a little bit of I don't want to say movement because it really wasn't movement, but just some neurological stuff are starting to come, are starting to come back. And she pretty much won the staff over with this smile. It's crazy. Both at DeVos, Lennon Holton, and Mary Free Bed. By the time we were done with our radiation, Lynn and I had gotten her to the point where we were actually putting her in a chair, wheeling her to our car, loading her into our car, and then loading the wheelchair into the back of our SUV. And I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know how Lynn did it. This chair was freaking heavy.
Yeah, there's no wheelchair tank that exists as light.
No, this thing was a tank, and I always felt bad the days that I didn't have her because I knew what Lynn was going through. But yeah, we make through the 31 radiation treatments, and what I didn't know at the time is radiation can have effects up to 2 years after you're done.
Oh.
Yeah, so you had mentioned life beyond barriers. So Annika comes home from Mary Free Bed, middle of September, and they're supposed to be in 6th grade, and they have at Rockford they have what's called magnets, and it kind of splits up the middle schoolers. I don't know if they still do it, but we pull into our neighborhood, and Annika, the Rockford Public Schools had bust her entire magnet to our street, and they cheered her as she came home. So that was
Stop it.
Yeah, that was still gets me choked up because a lot of her really good friends, kids that didn't even know her at that point because they're coming from different grade schools. It was amazing. So Um, at this point, she's actually starting to walk a teeny bit with assistance, a
Oh,
teeny
okay.
bit. So she's she can kind of move her, use her hands a little bit. Not feeding herself or anything like that, um, but she has literally zero muscle. I mean, from a
Mm.
girl that she wasn't muscular, but she was very strong. Seeing her with zero muscle is hard,
Yeah.
obviously. So after that, we're home. You had mentioned Life Beyond Barriers. We started Life Beyond Barriers. We're there a couple times a week,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is September of 2021, and now we're going to get into chemotherapy.
Okay.
So we have 6 months of super intense. I don't even know how she made it.
Wow.
Um, it's every month. It was 4 days in, 3 nights in, and it was
She's
just massive amounts of poison.
uh
Um, I know that's a drastic way to describe it, but that's what it is because you're trying to kill
yeah,
something.
right.
Um,
Man.
but the crazy thing is, she never gave us a hard time about going. Even though I know what it made her body feel like, she never gave us a hard time. Um,
She's
she is she was blessed with however her body could tolerate that. She would have a couple hard days a month,
mm-hmm.
but her body just tolerated something that the human body shouldn't tolerate. Um,
She's a warrior.
yeah, she is. She is a warrior. So obviously made a lot of friends outside of those 4 days too. During the month, we were down at DeVos at least twice a week
Okay.
for different medications. I lost count on the number of platelet transfusions she had. I
Wow.
lost count at the number of blood transfusions she had.
Mm.
Um, I mean, in the platelets, I bet you it's in the hundreds,
She,
and it's definitely over 100 blood transfusions just to keep her counts up as high as we can. Um, yeah,
that is wild.
it's a rough road. It's a rough road. Um, and then in between there, obviously she's not going to school.
Right.
She just wouldn't have time. So Rockford Public Schools had a teacher come to the house,
Mm.
and that was a couple times a week. That was fantastic for her. They worked, so she made it through going through sixth grade that way. And then, like I said, Life Beyond Barriers, a lot of just a lot of PT, a lot of OT, a lot of
Yep.
a lot of work with a walker. So when we get to the springtime, when Annika's finally going to be done with chemotherapy, and this is like spring break time of 2022. So we're going through month six, or month six. Month six was delayed because her counts were so low, um, and her counts were like drastically low. They wouldn't come up. Finally, her doctor made the call to we're going to go ahead and give her the sixth treatment, um, and she then walks out of DeVos um, after the 6th month. Had a walker,
Okay.
probably
Wow.
need it, but she could have walked with my hand. So I know that's a long time frame, and there's a lot of stuff that happened in between there that I have probably forgotten more than I remember.
Yeah.
But she essentially went during radiation and during chemotherapy. She's therapying back from posterior fossa to the point where she's now talking. Not awesome. Her speech came later, but she's physically walking. She's feeding herself. She's eating.
Man.
Um, like I said, our house that we live in now was made to care for her. Somebody was looking down on us when we moved here in 2019,
For
but
sure.
she would just disappear. Now she wasn't comfortable. She wasn't comfortable walking around on her own, but she would scoot around on her butt. Like she'd end up downstairs in her room. Um, a couple of the times, this is kind of funny, is she'd go use the restroom and she would kind of shimmy out on the wall. Well, she'd be stuck. You can't see my arms, but she'd be stuck on the wall like this. She'd be like, Dad, because I had to go over and help her to the couch. And we figured, hey, scans continue to look good. At that time, they're doing scans every 2 months, MRI scans looking for cancer, the cancer lesions, and everything looks good. It's still a rough road, but we look like we've gotten through the worst of it, right? Mm-hmm. Through the worst of it. So as we kind of go into the spring of 2022, her chemotherapy's done. We're in therapy, and we're kind of getting to go through the summer, and her counts are not coming back up, and that's really starting. And even for what Annika went through, and because she had the maximum number and the maximum amount of radiation, and she had the maximum amount of chemotherapy that somebody Annika's age could have.
Whoa.
Yeah. So scary.
Yes.
But it had to be to save her life. And
you have to be that aggressive.
Yeah, you have to be that aggressive. I will say that one thing that I forgot to say is medulloblastoma is categorized in four categories. And if you ask me to name them, I can't. But 3 is the most aggressive. Annika's luckily turned out to be 4, which is less aggressive. However, even though it tested as 4, it was acting like 3. And that'll come into play here in a little bit. But so we kind of go through the summer. We kind of continue to go through therapy. Annika's looking forward to going back to school in 7th grade at East Rockford. And as she's starting to continue to walk and stuff, all of a sudden now we're starting to lose abilities again. And at first the doctors are like, well, that's the vincristine. That's a chemo drug, by the way. It can kind of hamper walking for a year. And again, me saying, geez, I've got to wait another year. I mean, we've been doing this now. We've been going at this for over a year, not treatment, but before she was sick. Yeah. And I've got to wait another year. Meanwhile, if you take me back to that spot, I would take that in a heartbeat from where we are now. So then she kind of continues to kind of lose abilities. She really can't walk anymore. She just have a hard time holding her head up. And we're now getting really concerned again because we think that the tumor is growing and it's clogging her highway again. We're like, okay. So now Lynn and I, as we go into our scan in September, I think it was September or August, we're thinking we're going to find tumor again. And they do a scan, and this area around her, where her tumor bed was, is showing up bright white. And the tumor didn't show up bright white, and now people are like, what is that? So that is, that again, unicorn is called radionecrosis. And it essentially took every one of Annika's abilities back.
Wow.
It was a slow process over a couple months. She ended up at DeVos multiple times with massive respiratory issues. She lost all movement in her legs. She's lost all movement in her arms. But again, this is such a slow process, and we don't know exactly how far it's going to go.
Okay.
She did hyperbaric therapy for 100 days. Every day we were down at DeVos in a hyperbaric chamber trying to slow this thing down. We did a bunch of meds, a lot of other stuff.
Right.
And then she ends up back at Mary Free Bed again. She actually checked in the same day and checked out the exact same day, 1 year apart, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's slowly losing this ability. Um, the she did end up the part that actually is good that we caught it was I guess the membrane did grow back over where the drain in her head is. It grew back over, and they had to do another brain surgery on her.
Wow.
And I'm drawing a blank. I forgot what they call. I'll probably remember it in a little bit. But they actually put this thing into her. It actually has a tube in it, and it goes from her ventricle. The tube goes down into her abdomen and kind of drains the CF fluid. And we were told that they just work for like 40 or 50 years, and Annika had already been through 2 of them.
Right.
Again, the unicorn thing. So we asked, is there any other option? And they said, well, they said, it's not popular here in DeVos, but they have this thing where we essentially just pop a hole in that membrane. And we chose to try that. And that was October of 2022. And here we are without the medical device in her. It's just worked. And why it worked, the doctors can't tell us that because it really shouldn't have worked as well. The medical device should have worked better.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I know
that's crazy.
It's crazy. Still, so like I said, now her ventricles are draining again. So now she's feeling better again, but now we're losing our abilities. We're trying to go through PT, OT. We're trying to figure out, well, when is this going to slow down? Well, it never really slowed down. She essentially lost her ability to almost not totally swallow, but like a lot of her swallow, a lot of her breathing. And we just figure she's going to end up on a trach. And we're like, okay, here's kind of the next thing. And I remember many times I've said, when is the next thing going to stop?
Yeah.
Because we keep having next things. Long story short, she ends up in DeVos 4 or 5 times throughout the winter with breathing issues. And the summer of 2023, in June of 2023, we're actually supposed to go on our Make-A-Wish out to the San Diego Zoo. Annika's favorite animal besides her golden retriever is the cheetah. So the San Diego Zoo was going to have us out. Lynn and I had no idea how we were going to get her across country because we have to fly in a commercial flight, and she can't hold her head up. She's, like I said, she's at this point a 75-pound, 5-foot-tall newborn baby. So I'm like, you know what? If I have to sit behind her and hold her head the entire flight, I'm going to do it for her. Well, then she gets very sick, and she ends up in DeVos, and she ends up in the ICU on a breathing tube. So here we go. Now we're breathing tube for many, many days.
Which, if people are listening, that alone is, I mean, you say it casual because
you're right. I probably shouldn't.
Because you've gone through it, and I know what that looks like and how that plays out. But that is an intense thing to experience.
Yeah, and especially when they rush you out. She's in the ER. Well, and I remember them rushing Lynn and I out of the ER room so they could intubate her.
Right.
I've been scared, but I was terrified at that point. Why? I can't tell you, but I was. She had gone through so much. Why was I not terrified to this point? And I don't know. I'm like, oh geez. Well, so she makes it through. Obviously, we're up in the PICU. If you're on a breathing tube at DeVos, you're in the ICU. So she probably spends 5 days on the breathing tube. They actually get the breathing tube out, but she's still on supportive breath. So she's got a full mask.
Okay.
supportive breath. We're going on day 10, 11. And I remember one of the doctors walks in, and she was great, Dr. Constantine. And she's like, Annika, what do you want? And I go, that's a loaded question. You better be real careful because when the Make-A-Wish people asked her what she wanted, she said, I want a pool. And if you've ever been to our property, I told them, I said, you're going to have a $250,000 retaining wall because we live on this humongous hill. So I go, she's going to ask you for the world. Well, she said, I want to see my dog. So Tucker, at the time, had just turned 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's our golden retriever. He was Annika's motivation to get through radiation and chemotherapy. And that's a whole story in itself because apparently she told one of the nurses in the PICU on night 1 that I'm getting a dog out of this. And they put it in her chart. So
Nice.
every new nurse or doctor that came in said, oh, you're getting a dog. And Lynn and I are like, what? Wait, we don't have time for a dog.
It's not an official document, please.
Yeah. So she goes, Annika, I'm going to be honest with you. She goes, they don't even let the therapy dogs in the rooms in the ICU. And I go, who do I have to talk to? She goes, what? I go, just let me ask, please. Just let me ask.
Yeah.
So I get a hold of one of the child life specialists, and she goes, why don't you and I write a letter to the president of who's in charge of the hospital? So like 2 days later, we get approval to bring Tucker. And I'm like, what?
Man.
And I'm like, there is no way. At this time, and the pictures are crazy because Annika's got this huge mask still on her face. So she's in still rough shape. I mean, she is in rough shape. Like, we've even had care meetings where we're talking about there is no way she's going home without a trach. We need to start planning for a chair and how you support that and all this other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we bring Tucker in, and if you've ever met Tucker, he is an excited dog on steroids when he meets you. He is he's the friendliest being on earth, but he's very excitable. He was so calm walking across the bridge, going up the elevator. He'd never been in an elevator, no problem. Walked right in, didn't jump on her bed, but his paws up on her bed. We spent about an hour there with him.
Oh, man.
She got to hang out with him. Everybody got to meet him. 3 days later, she goes home like nothing ever happened.
Okay.
The doctors are even looking at us and they're like, what? So this Dr. Constantine, she said, can you please write? And it was the gentleman that we had to write to get approval. Can you please write? Because she goes, we have been trying to get a dog for the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, now they have a dog. Her name's Indy. She's a golden retriever. I'm not saying Tucker is why Indy is there, but Tucker had part of it. Like,
right.
They even say to this day, they're like, that part of her, I mean, a lot of her medical journey doesn't make sense because, but that part really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that was pretty amazing. And, so then we kind of come off that. So now we're starting to deal in the disabled world, right? So just to let anybody know, Annika has pretty much no movement. I mean, and you could probably help me explain this more, but she has involuntary movements. She can move her arms a teeny bit. She can't pick anything up. She can't move her hands or her fingers. She can kind of bend her head one way, but she can't really pick her head up. Everything is fully supportive. She's in what's called a tilt and space wheelchair. We have her hands kind of strapped to the armrest. If not, she kind of gets that startle reflex. So that's kind of the situation that she was in since the summer of 2023. When her doctors went to ask what can be done, nobody can find a case where radionecrosis has caused this much damage.
Wow.
So again, the unicorn.
Man.
Yeah, so here we are. Now we're learning unfortunately, we're learning the world of a child with major disabilities, right?
Right.
None of these kids deserve that.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with different medical equipment at home. I mean, she's on it's called an AVAP sleep machine. her brain still to this day sometimes stops her from breathing at night when she's asleep. So what it does is it knows and then it breathes for her, really, you know.
Yeah.
She's still on a bunch of medications. But coming out of that, obviously we had to cancel Make-A-Wish and all that stuff. So now, obviously because of that and because of now not knowing exactly where we're going to be, Annika now misses 7th grade as well at East Rockford. So we have a nurse or a teacher come to the house. And then we kind of spend the next, 8-9 months figuring out what our life is going to be like and how we have to care for her. And, she's essentially 24/7. And how do we do that with Lynn and I both working and with our boys being super active, super supportive, but super active. Cam had turned 16 at this point, so he was driving. So that was a huge help.
Yeah.
But the boys are so close in age that they don't always get along.
Oh, really?
Great. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, really? So then kind of to speed up, fast forward, for medulloblastoma, 24 months after treatment is over, if it has not returned, you're not in the clear, but the chance of it coming back is much, much more rare. Okay. And we had flown through every scan. And our doctor's even like going to meet with the radiologist, and they're like, "Are you sure you don't see anything?" And they're like, "We don't see a speck. Like, she's good." Well, May of 2024 is month 24. And another difference between Lynn and I is the minute something is posted on my chart, she reads it. And our doctors always said, please don't read it. She reads it, and Annika's sitting on our couch, and Lynn's on one side and I'm on the other, and I just see her face turn like she saw a ghost. And she mouthed to me, "It's all over her body." So I said, "You got to get out of here. We got to get out of here." And the boys were not home. And so we walk in the garage, and she told me, she goes, "Babe, it's back in her brain and it's all in her spine." And I said, really? What? And I'm like, in 3 months? So funny, as we're standing in the garage, our neuro-oncologist, who had handled Annika since day one, calls Lynn. And, pretty much told her, "I told you not to read that. Read my chart." But she's like, she goes, "This came out of left field to me." She goes, "There's no way." She goes, "I even went back with the gentleman that reads all of her scans and said, 'Are you sure we didn't miss it? Are you sure we didn't miss it?'" And he's like, yeah. "No." So obviously now we are in a totally different spot than what we thought we were going to be. We thought we were going to have, our extended life was going to be, because Annika obviously was never going to be able to live on her own, or, she couldn't even drive a wheelchair with probably her lips or anything like that. So we knew that obviously she's going to need care for the rest of her life. And we are, now we're dealing with something that we never thought we were going to have to again. Right. And as I told you before, they had mentioned how aggressive her cancer is. Even if it's category 4, it's still extremely, extremely aggressive. So, like I said, it's May. Annika's coming. Annika's actually had gone back to school. That was through her 8th grade year. So she actually did go back to school for 8th grade. So I'm sorry if I skipped ahead a little bit, but it was kind of her medical journey, right? Yep. So she had a great time in 8th grade. I mean, she had an aide with her all the time. The therapy dog that is at East Rockford Middle School, Ruffles, became just a buddy of hers. Um, so now we have to deal with her cancer being back, and everybody at the school is like, "You got to be, like, I can't believe it."
Right.
All of us were like, so now we now we don't know what to plan for,
Okay.
because once Medullio comes back, there's really no treatment. Um,
Okay.
her body can't tolerate any more chemo. It definitely can't tolerate any more radiation. Um, if she had any of that, it would essentially take her life.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's quality of life, and knowing how aggressive it is and knowing how much there was already in just those short amount of time, we figured that she probably wasn't going to make it through the summer of 2024.
Mm.
We did choose to have an Omaya. It's port put in, and it's actually put in on her skull. Looks like a little button, and she does receive, it is a type of chemo, but it is a type of chemo that, um, not to the point of where her first treatment.
Okay.
So they had to do that twice a week. We started this in June, and then she went on a bunch of oral chemos as well. Um, and it's not to cure it; it's to slow it down, to
Okay.
give us as much time with her as we can. Well, her body did not like the oral chemos, and over the 4th of July, she almost didn't make it in the summer of 2024.
Really?
Um, Even our hospice nurse, we've actually she's been fantastic as well. Once Annika's cancer came back, they did put us on, essentially pediatric hospice, and we see her every week
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't know how fast it was going to progress either. She came in for a couple days, and Annika, she's just like, she's tired. She's tired, and I'm like, I I don't know. That was another time where I was terrified because I'm like, I know it's in there. I know what it's doing to her.
Yeah.
um, this is probably it. But
Man.
that's not Annika. Whatever happened, she just says, nope, it's not my time. Um, Couple days of not feeling very well, and July 6th, 7th, she's back to pretty much herself. Our hospice nurse came in, and her and I walk outside, and she goes, "I can't believe it." I've been doing this a long time. She goes, "No." She goes, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, Annika doesn't make any sense. Um, so, um, so then we start planning life and
Yeah.
ton of care. It's hard for single care. We do it. Lynn does
Mm-hmm.
more than I do because I have to travel a little bit more for work. But we try to have both of us here.
Yeah.
Um, so then we figure, okay, she's probably not going. She's probably not going to make it to freshman year of Rockford. Well, come August, there she goes to school. We're like, okay, can she make it to Thanksgiving? Well, she makes it to Thanksgiving, and the boys I told about being ski racers, they got to go to a camp out at Copper Mountain over the week of Thanksgiving, and I really didn't want to go, but I reluctantly went with them because I was worried something was going to happen. She was
Yeah.
fine. Makes it through Christmas. That's her favorite time of year. And then I'm like, all right, can she make it through ski season to watch the boys race a little bit, celebrate Cam's senior year?
Yep.
Makes it through that. Can she make it through baseball? Because one of her favorite things is watching her brother play baseball. Cam played for Rockford and played a lot
Yeah.
of travel baseball. And due to being a pilot, he passed on playing in college. But that was one of her favorite things. And actually, the stadium at Rockford is set up perfectly for her. She gets to sit right behind home plate. She gets to complain.
Sweet.
She gets to complain about the umpire like everybody else.
Good.
And her nickname for him is Potato Head. So when he came up to bat, she would yell, "Let's go, Potato Head," and he would look back at her and smile. And um, then as her freshman year came to a close, she started to fall asleep more, and we're like, okay. Talking with her doctor, she said, "This is this is going to kind of be what happens." And it's, I mean, the and people are probably going to think, and I hope nobody thinks that I'm cold because of this, but it's a peaceful way for it's a very peaceful way for somebody to go, and they don't have any pain. And
Yeah,
that's my fear for her, or my worry for myself for her. I don't want her to be scared, and I don't want her to be in any pain.
for sure.
Um, Long story short, she was just tired. She's tired of school. She makes it through the summer. The summer's been hot. That's rough on her. Not a lot of outside time. Um, but yeah, it's been a crazy, interesting journey for the year June 2024 to June 20 or June 2024 to June 2025. Her Omaya port, we were down at DeVos 3 out of 4 weeks, and 2 days out of those weeks, she would get essentially that chemo. Like I said, we cut out the oral chemos, and we just went with the stuff that went through her Omaya port. And that was actually the most important one anyway, because that's going to keep the tumors from growing. And they do that for a year, and that was June. And afterwards, Annika wanted a break. Annika wanted a break from going to the hospital all the time. So we decided to stop that treatment. We have a scan September 16th. That's our next MRI, and we'll see how much everything has grown. She is showing no effects. She went back to sophomore year of high school. Her same aide that she had last year, still giving people a super hard time.
Yes.
She is sassy, funny. She was always funny and sassy. She never got involved in the girl drama even before all this, which always made me smile. Because actually, I didn't really want my daughter getting involved in girl drama because it's kind of disturbing at times and scary, I guess. So I don't know. We're getting time that we didn't expect. You know?
This is
And it's just, I don't know. I'm sure I skipped over a ton of stuff
for sure.
because you and I could talk for probably 50 hours, right? But I don't know. It's it's every day is different, but every day is very the same.
Yeah. Just listening. And by the way, I appreciate you sharing. That's what you and your family have gone through is incredible. I mean, it's a lot. That's not the right word, but that's all I have right now is
no, it is. Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, and there's so much, and I'm speaking from my experience. There's so much that you didn't say, which is okay and fine. I mean, it's hard to say everything and remember everything, but there's so much, even if you were to share it all, that people just can't understand. They can't comprehend, and they're probably never going to see that you and Lynn and the boys and Anni are all dealing with daily. And it's just it's a weight that you have. And so I have a question for you.
Sure.
And it's just been on my mind since you've been sharing is, how do you do it, Mark? I'm sure you've gotten that before, but there's lots of different things people are into and believe in and hope in. And I'm just curious for you and Lynn, what is it that keeps you guys going? I mean, how do you do it?
How do you not do it? That's your child.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Annika and I have an argument every night. And it's a funny argument. It's not a yelling argument.
Yeah.
is she always tells me, I love you more. And I said, that's impossible. That is impossible. I said, a parent will always love their child more than a child will love their parent. But that's life, right? And
Yeah.
that's just how life is supposed to be.
Right.
But you're not supposed to outlive your children, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why that is. Um, I don't know. She just keeps you going.
Yeah.
Like if we give, it's going way back to right after Annika's surgery. We met Doctor. Uh, we called her Doctor Becca, and she's no longer, unfortunately, at DeVos. But she was our head neuro-oncologist, and we met her and Dr. Lake, and we were started talking about treatment. This is after surgery. Because I mean, one of the things I skipped over, we started a little bit of chemotherapy even before radiation. They just had to kind of get it moving a little bit.
Okay.
And she's kind of going through some paperwork, and she's like, well, she goes, do we want to talk about percentages? And Lynn and I looked at each other and we're like, no. I go, we have two numbers. I go, we have 0 and 100. That's it. I go, if you're telling me it's 0, I'm not going to want to hear that.
Right.
But if you tell me there's a 1% chance, it's 100 for her and I, for Lynn and I.
Yeah.
And it was full gas, like literally
green
whatever we
light.
have to do. Yep. I bet you their number was under 5. I would really think that with everything that I know now and everything that she's been through and all that.
Right.
So how do you do it? Like I said, I've had a lot of parents say, I don't think I could do it. And I'd be like, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Because you have two choices. You either curl up in the fetal position, and now you have to live with that you didn't do everything you can for your child.
Right.
Right? Or you fight like HE double hockey sticks.
Yep.
And if someday for us, when the inevitable happens and it'll be soul crushing, I know that I can tell myself that we did not leave one stone unturned for her. Like literally God had a different plan for her. Right? He just had a different plan.
Right.
I don't like his plan, but because I wanted, she won't get married, she won't have children, it's just, and she's going to get her life cut short. And I know that sounds harsh, but
yeah,
when you've kind of been dealing with this for this long, it's kind of like you have to, it's just reality, unfortunately. And you just have to, we're going to enjoy the moments that we have. And like I said, we've had more moments than I've expected.
Yeah.
You talk about at the beginning, we were talking about Michigan, right? And I forgot to tell you when you went to the game on Saturday, the fall that she was so she's still at Mary Free Bed, or she had just come home. I can't remember. I took Cam and 2 of his friends to the game, and I took a couple of our bracelets that we have, and I zip tied them under the seat for her.
Really?
And they're still there.
Oh, man.
4 seasons later, they have not found them.
If you're listening from the big house, please leave them.
Yeah, please leave them. By the way, we're in section 47, row 2. No, I'm just kidding. We're not.
I know.
And
the other
thing.
Correct you. I was like, oh, I shouldn't.
And as I don't know, one of the things that kind of got me too, because Annika doesn't have a whole lot. She doesn't have a whole lot to experience. She loves school, but like she can't play games. She can't text on her phone with her friends. She can't. Taking her out to eat is nearly impossible. Her wheelchair is huge. She can't hear because she has hearing damage from the chemotherapy. Her chair is tall. It doesn't fit under the table. She sticks out.
Yeah.
She feels like everybody's staring at her, which I would rather people just ask about her. The good news is if you're kind of around Rockford, more people know her than don't know her.
Yeah.
So there's
Rockford
really not a whole
legend.
lot of there's really not a whole lot of stuff that this young lady gets to do. So anytime it's like this was dumb, but on Sunday afternoon I took her to Costco. Nobody wants to go to Costco. I don't want to go to Costco on a Sunday
Right.
afternoon. But apparently everybody
Exactly.
in Grand Rapids was at Costco on Sunday afternoon. She had a blast. She had a blast.
Oh
She
my
wanted me to buy
God.
her a Squishmallow. I'm like, I'm not buying you a Squishmallow because we have 400 Squishmallows. But you know, so but speaking of like she loves Michigan football. Her and I
Yeah,
used to go.
that's
It
so
was some
awesome.
right. So I'm taking her. We are taking her October 18th. And I'm like, you know what? Every year
Wow.
we've always made an excuse why we can't do it. I asked her, I'm like, it's going to be a long day on your butt. It is going to be a long day sitting in that chair. If you
Yep.
want to do it, because it's two and with in our, how because I kind of drive carefully with her in there, kind of. I'm sure you do as well. But it's probably 2.5 hour ride
Yeah.
there. Um, you
There's
know,
some good old construction. It's probably gonna be a little longer. P.S.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just gonna be a super long
Yeah.
day. But and if you look on our website or foundation, a lot of those pictures are from the big house actually, like when
Oh
her and I
man.
used to go, and so we're doing that. And I'm not sure when you're gonna release this, but I think something pretty special is gonna happen on Thursday night for her. We're
Okay.
definitely going to a country concert.
Oh
There's a
shoot.
there's a big name that follows our foundation that our oldest met 2 falls ago, and he started following
Wow.
Anni's Army Foundation. And I think he is going to cut some time out of his schedule to meet her. She has
Oh
no
man.
idea, but
I love it.
I'm like, what can I expose this young lady to? We're coming on your hayride
Yes.
that we've
I
done.
saw that. Yep.
So
Yeah. You
I
guys
just
do
want
an
to.
incredible job of just incorporating her into every possible avenue. I love that.
Yeah, I feel terrible leaving her at home.
Yeah,
It's like
for sure.
in the one thing we haven't been able to do is get her skiing.
Mm.
They do have adaptive skiing, but that there is two things fighting against that. One is nobody in the state of Michigan has the actual chair she needs. They do
Okay.
have ones if she could hold her head up, they could have her. But number two is her. She's like, Dad, I was really good, and I'm like, you were really good. She goes, I don't want to ski any other way. She goes, if I'm going to
Mm.
ski, I'm going to ski on my own again. Um,
Wow.
I don't have the heart to tell her that that's not going to happen. I'm going to
Yeah.
let her keep believing that she can. Um, so yeah, but outside of anything else, we try to involve her. I don't know if you saw or not, but Lynn and Cam jumped out of an airplane on Saturday.
I did
Um,
see that. It's
so
ridiculous.
yeah, and Bodie and Annika and Tucker, our golden retriever, and I drove out to Grand Haven to watch them. And
Jeez.
she just kept saying, "I want to do it. I want to do it." And I'm like, that one, okay, that one ain't gonna work.
You're
So
like,
it's a little bit of a rough landing, and
yeah. Would you
but
ever
she was
jump out
always,
of a plane?
yes. I think when
Wow.
Bodie, so in the state of Michigan, it's you have to be 18 by law.
Oh, okay.
So when Bodie turns 18, he wants to go, and I told him that I would go with him.
Oh
Uh, you
boy.
know, I know it. I'll tell you what. If this journey taught us nothing else, is it's those type of things. If it just take advantage of them, because you
Yeah,
never know what tomorrow brings.
for sure.
You know.
For sure.
So
Man. So being that this is for um not only, but the intention is for other dads who are going through similar journeys. Obviously, no one's is the same.
no.
Um, if you could speak to a dad, knowing what you know now, because you've got some serious experience, you that you didn't ask for, by the way, but you are an experienced in the journey of disabilities, of medically complex, of anomalies, of unicorns, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that you would say to a dad to just give them some encouragement? Maybe if you could imagine a dad is just having a down day, and you had the opportunity to speak to them, what would you say to give them some encouragement?
Well, you're not alone.
Hmm.
Um,
I like that was the first
our
thing. I like that a lot.
our thank you. Our fraternity is small, but it's not a fraternity of one.
Mm,
Um, it is a very lonely and depressing journey. Um, even on the days that you have wins,
yeah.
one of the things that we coined from night one is win the day. If we win today, then we'll win
Yeah.
tomorrow. Just keep
Yep.
winning, keep winning, keep winning. Even on the days of wins, it's still very hard.
For sure.
But there's people out there like myself, like yourself, a lot of other people that we've come in contact with that maybe even haven't even had a compromised child in our situations,
Mm-hmm.
but are willing to listen and help.
Yeah.
um, Reach out to those people, whether it's you, whether it's me, um, because it is like this. It changes your life. It changes everybody that comes into contact with you.
For sure.
Life. We had good friends that the Annika was out of surgery for 2 days. I believe it was July 4th, and they're sitting around their pool, and they shared this story with us that said, here we are celebrating the 4th of July with our kids, jumping in and out of our pool, and Mark and Lynn are staring at Annika, not knowing if she's going to live. You know, like,
Yeah.
so it doesn't. Yeah, yes, Annika's affected the most. Lynn and I are affected the next most. Then it tiers really closely to Bodie and Cam, and then our extended family, and then our friends. But it touches so many rings as you go
Oh my
out.
gosh. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this too. It also affects on the good. Like
Yep.
Annika has touched people that she wouldn't even have met,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Annika's probably motivated people. Annika maybe have changed how a parent sees their child,
Yep.
where maybe I need to be a little bit firmer on certain things, but maybe I can back off a little bit on other things.
Yeah.
Like she's had
Man.
just such a massive. Uh, it's I keep telling her, I keep looking. I'm like, you're a celebrity. She's like, I don't want to be a celebrity. I'm like, well, trust me, mom and dad don't want you to be a celebrity either. But,
Feel the same.
it's, so, but, yeah, it just, there's not one person that it doesn't affect even a little bit,
Yeah.
So if there's somebody out there, you're going to have the feeling of loneliness because you will lose, I hate to say it, you will lose friends,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to be able to do the same things that you did.
Yep.
Your priorities change. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's what we do as parents, So
Yep.
if you have those feelings, find one of us. Let's talk. Let's
Yeah. I like that.
Either I have to come to your place, you have to come to my place. We meet, talk on Zoom, like COVID, like we did.
Yeah.
However, I'll sit here and listen if I have to.
Yeah. I love that.
I like to talk about her, but I'm also a good listener, and we're not going to survive doing this on our own. There's no way.
For sure.
You know.
For sure. No, that's good. That's good encouragement, and that obviously comes from um, being an expert in the field and having gone through your stuff. So I appreciate that. That's really well said.
Yeah.
Um, hey, before we wrap this up, can you just share quickly about Anni's Army and how the listeners can find out more about Anni's Army, where they can go to donate and learn about it?
Sure. Well, thanks for asking. And people are probably going to think now we are really crazy. So in
I'm not going to answer
August,
that.
I know. Well, the answer is yes.
It's a setup.
Exactly. So obviously, diagnosed the last day of June in 2021. Essentially by August of 2021, Annika's still in the hospital, Mary Free bed, still going through radiation. We launched Anni's Army Foundation, and it came from Lynn and I, sleepless nights at DeVos, not wanting other parents to have to go through this. It's just gut wrenching staring at your child hooked up to 800 monitors, and every time they move, they're getting poked by an IV or something like that. And I'm like, I don't want this for anybody else. Absolutely. Yeah. So when we first launched it, it was for literally the research. We were going to raise money for research for medulloblastoma. And that's what we started. We work with the main research doctor down in Houston, Texas. He's the one that him and his team 12 years ago actually did categorize the 4 categories that I was talking about for medullo. And he is convinced that he's going to be able to catch it at birth.
Wow.
So when you have medullo, it'd be huge. It's literally a blood test. If an infant who is still in the hospital, they would find it, they would do a simple brain, like super simple brain surgery where just scraping those cells, and the freight train would never hit you.
Man.
So we jumped on board with him. We do one large research donation for him every year. But then as we were kind of going through and spending a lot of nights in the hospital, and Lynn and I were very blessed to have 2 supportive employers, we realized that there's a lot of stuff for kids. And kids deserve it. They do. Toys and stuffed animals and bingo and anything that these kids want, they should have, because they are getting a lot of their life is being turned upside down. They're not being able to do a lot of the stuff that they want to do. But what we realized is there's a segment out there that's being missed. So we launched Anni's Gift that's inside Anni's Army Foundation. And what that does is that pays bills for families.
Awesome.
So we have paid a lot of car payments. We've put water heaters in. We've filled propane tanks.
Gosh.
Unfortunately, we have sent children home on hospice with a bunch of food, like gift cards.
Yep.
We had one family, and I still think about them all the time. The parents were divorced, but the young man he was 9. He went home on hospice. They thought he had a couple weeks. The families, both the parents were remarried. They actually moved in together, all of them, to spend time with him. And we essentially funded all their food for a month. And then some other stuff. So
what? That is awesome.
Yeah, so we pay bills that won't go away, that nobody thinks about. We're involved with, if your child has brain cancer, you'll end up at one of 4 hospitals in Michigan, and we are associated with all 4 of them. We're just trying to turn a major negative into a positive.
Yeah.
And
man,
I truly believe that it's part of the reason Annika's still here. Like, she keeps asking, who are we helping next? Who are we helping next? And that comes from her spirit. The foundation comes from her. She was always that kid that found the new kid at school, the kid eating lunch by themselves, didn't have any friends. And so we started it for her and her giving spirit. So,
well, thank you for what you do. That is, I didn't even know that last part. So I don't know how I didn't know that.
Which one?
The gift part, the helping with the bills and
that actually that's more often. We do between 2 and 5 a month. At DeVos, Mott Children's in Ann Arbor, Detroit Children's, and then what they call now Corwell East, which used to be Beaumont. So those 4, if your child has brain cancer, you're going to end up at one of those 4 hospitals.
Gotcha.
We've helped, northern Michigan, eastern, all around Michigan, we've helped families. You do have to go through your social worker at the hospital to get approved. We don't have an open.
Right. And
that came from our social worker. She's like, you're going to have 1,000 applicants a month. And she goes, you guys don't have that bandwidth. And we don't, so, but the city of the city of Rockford has just embraced us. We have our Ram Out Pediatric Cancer football game, October 24th
Yep.
at obviously home here at Rockford. We sell T-shirts for that. We have 12 sponsors this year, which is unbelievable.
Yes.
And we're just trying to do good. We're trying to do good in her name, for her, keep her going. She last year, her cancer's growing. She made it to the first football game, which I'm like, she's not going to make it to the first one. I'm like, she's definitely not making it to the second one. Well, let me tell you, she's making it to the second one, no problem. And last year Cam was a senior, and we rolled her out, and there's 4,000 Rockford students there chanting her name, all in pink, and I'm like, this is pretty cool.
That's incredible. I'm gonna share something with you, but you promise you won't be mad. Okay.
Sure.
I've never been to a Rockford football game ever.
That's okay.
So
not everybody's a football guy.
I think I am, though. I don't know. It's not on my radar, but I think it'd be fun to be my first Rockford football game would be fun to be at the
there you go.
Ram Out Cancer.
If you ever want to go, here's my philosophy, right? I don't like to listen to all the Rockford people complain about the coaching and the refs. So I actually walk over and stand on the visitor sidelines up against the fence, normally just by myself, just to watch the game. So if you ever want to go and you ever want to be kind of incognito, I'm happy to go with you.
Yes.
Yeah. People just, people just take stuff like that too seriously at times. And obviously in our situation, it's easier for us to understand that than others.
Right. For sure.
But so no, it's we're hoping to have a lot of media. Last year we had 2 news organizations out. I'm hoping to have at least another one out there this year. Lowell does the Pink Arrow game. They've been doing it for over 20 years, and that's for breast cancer. Wow. I'm hoping in 20 years, I don't know where we'll be, but hopefully this game continues and we continue to make a difference. So,
well, you are making a difference, and it's awesome to experience it and watch it. And I'm just thankful that you and Lynn and your crew are doing what you do, considering all that you have on your plate. So I just want to say thanks. I mean, you're making an impact. It's incredible. You are doing it well. You're leading by example, which I think is great. It's easy to go through what you have gone through and are going through, bitter, with a bad attitude, and you're choosing not to. And I just think that's an awesome example for the other dads, for other families to see. Mark, I feel
trust me, I there's a lot of bitterness, but that's not going to get me anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm bitter on my own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. It's not, you're not choosing it every day, and that,
no, definitely not.
But boy, could it be easy to.
Sure.
So I just feel like we could just keep. I mean, there's so much that I want to ask you about, but for the sake of time, I feel like this is going to be a good place to wrap it up. And I just want to say thank you. You are making a huge impact, not only in Rockford, but around the world. And it's cool. It's so cool what you guys are doing. We're going to continue to pray for Anni and your family. But thank you for this time that you've given us. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's therapeutic for me to tell her story. She is probably the most amazing human I will ever meet in my entire life. Not that there's other amazing people out there, but I truly am blessed for her to call me dad. God did great things when He gave her to Lynn and I. He knew that at some point she was going to need 2 parents that just don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Can't say we haven't stepped on some toes that we've.
It's okay.
But that's okay.
Not everyone's going to be your best friend, especially at the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Well, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right.